All right, guys, welcome back. We are watching ReZero Season 2, Episode 17. Last time, well, we dealt with Garfield, I suppose. That's kind of a mean way to put it. We didn't deal with him. We helped him out, right? We had a very good conversation about him and his struggles, and they relate in a very unique way, I think, to things that Subaru and Amelia themselves have gone through, right? Um, so that was kind of one of our last remaining obstacles, I suppose, for the trial. And it's really all up for Amelia now. She's gotta be able to do it. And I have full faith in her. Of course. Subaru has faith in her. Everyone believes in her. She'll be able to do it. Even though I imagine what she's facing is probably pretty rough. But she has her memories back. So like that's I mean at least some of them, right? So like that kind of makes a big difference, I'm sure. Um yeah, I don't know. Echidna scares me. Her attitude towards Amelia. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. Amelia might be a perfect match for her though. Who knows? So yeah, we're watching season 2, episode 17. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. And here is Puck finding Amelia. Hmm. Right. Yeah. We saw. Hmm. There's still so much about Puck that I feel like I don't. Hmm. And there's pretty much the whole. Interesting. We haven't really talked about snow and ice, and that relating to Amelia, and how I think that is an interesting thing in and of itself, huh? Quite, I suppose. It's kind of an invention of your mind, right? The kid does not having fun, huh? Interesting. It's interesting that she is accompanying her so much. For Subaru, she just showed up at the end. Interesting. Sure. Yeah, very different from a dream. Sure, if you say so, kid. Interesting. I'm sure she does. Things will be different now. Is that it? Or I guess we don't really know why she lost her memories exactly, right? Well, even if she fails again, she can try again, right? Okay, okay. Hmm. Certainly doesn't look like it. The princess room. Ooh. God, she really has her memories back, huh? Looks like it. Hmm. No, it's very interesting that Echidna is accompanying her like this, her attitude towards her. There's little Amelia, God. Her mother really looks like her, huh? Children are supposed to be carefree. Come on. Oh. Hard to face. Fortuna. Something important. So I wonder... Ooh, okay. Mean eyes. I wouldn't put it that way. Okay, okay. Ah. So not her mother. She just calls her that. But they are related. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if this will lead up to... God, she looks so... the way she's sitting. Hmm. Ooh. The spirits, perhaps? Ooh. Interesting. I wonder why she has to stay here. I mean, the bias against her being a silver-haired half-elf, of course, would have already been a thing, right? So I don't know. I wonder. I assume not in this society of elves, right? I would hope not. Oh, they all have... Okay. They all have, like, the witch's cult members. Oh. And that's him, isn't it? Before whatever happens, right? Oh. Yeah, he's normal. The seal. Interesting. The seal on what? Something about Amelia? Love this music. What happens to him? And if these are Witch's Cult members, or they're all people who end up becoming Witch's Cult members? Obsession? Regret? Interesting. Almost like a tropical climate, maybe? To force them all to live here. It's pretty beautiful, sure. But if it is a place you were forced to... Archie. Ooh, what striking eyes, huh? God. Petalgeese is so different. Interesting. Ooh. Sure. I wonder why. I wonder why not. We know in the future, of course, a sinner such as myself. Huh. We know they have this obsession with Amelia in the future. But so much happens between then and now, clearly. Interesting. They're calling themselves sinners. 100 years of turmoil, huh? Interesting. Is that what you will experience, perhaps? They're calling themselves sinners, which is obviously so close, like the archbishops representing sins as we know it, right? Wonder how old she is. Hmm. Of course. Oh god, she gotta run. She gotta go back fast. Interesting. Calm down. Everything's fine. You're already back. Oh no, she's covered in dirt though. Oh god, that's gonna be rough. Interesting. This isn't like Puck, is it? I mean, it's a little spirit. I guess. Hmm. She really needs to calm down. Come on. Oh god, she has to cover herself up. Just completely covered herself in it. Interesting. Hmm. Ooh, looked at her hands. Some sign of what she did, perhaps? Hmm. So sad. That she had people like this who loved her. Interesting. Sure, right. Sure. Hmm. Subaru? Yeah? Sure. So-called fairy, right? Okay. Oh, I'm sure. The seal, yes. What is the seal? Hmm. Oh god, hurry! No! Nice, nice. Hmm. I wonder why they have to keep her locked up like that, you know? Maybe locked up is too harsh, but you know what I mean. You gotta stop getting so dirty every time you do it. Yeah, why hide it specifically from her, right? Hmm. Oh god. They almost looked at her. Why does that have to be a joke? Come on. God, he seems like such a nice guy, doesn't he? Man. She might have a fever. Sure. Decades ago. Yeah, they're both quite old. I love her face so much. Ooh, he might have a fever. What is the seal? What is the seal? Something about Amelia, I assume. Okay. I guess I imagine it feels like they're here for like their own protection, their own good in some way, right? Like the sanctuary. The two of them. Ooh. Gonna lead her somewhere, maybe? Okay. Ooh. Frost. Yeah. God, the music has been so good in this episode. Very. Locked away. Same way her memories have been. Is why... Is why what? What is it sealing? Oh. Hmm. Oh god, I want to keep seeing it. Come on. Oh, Subaru, I calm down. Who cares? Yeah, come on. It was cute. No one is making a big deal out of it other than you, Subaru. I literally. That's actually an interesting question. Mm-hmm. I guess it comes across as too sincere. Yeah, yeah. Sure. Very inspiring. Very inspiring. I mean, that phrase could mean anything, so. Maybe, maybe. Yeah, I wonder how passage of time works in the. Ooh. Okay, okay. Sure, sure. Subject that is unavoidable. Okay. Ooh. Which is what exactly? Interesting. What? What are you doing? Oh, because you are doing nothing to it. Interesting. God, she's so. The way she talks to herself so much, though, it is like lonely in a way, right? Oh, okay, sure. Hmm. Not bothered by the cold. Ooh. Leading her somewhere else? Something's about to happen. Maybe. Ooh, interesting. You're being so loud. Girl, what are you doing? Does he know? Oh. Yeah. Oh. So, looks just like Satella, right? Oh, so affected by it. Oh, interesting. Hmm. His reaction to her is so... I just don't have time to talk. Her reaction to her is so interesting with like the whole Just Amelia thing. It makes me think, you know. How this extreme positive reaction to her is also very interesting. Oh, God, you're gonna make him explode. Hmm. So did he... Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know. Sure, sure. Like, what are you talking about? Interesting. Yeah. And she wants to do it for herself, too, I imagine. They were effective. Right after he was just so embarrassed about all of it. Hmm. Right, right. The warm-up round, huh? Okay, okay. God, she is quite the handful, huh? Oh, God, listen to his voice. Oh, so... Interesting. Wants to keep her sheltered. Yeah. But she's a person, right? Yeah. It's dehumanizing in a different way almost, you know? Like his attitude towards her right now almost feels similar to the way Subaru treated her early on in season 1. Yeah, come on. I like come on. You can't say that. Oh, literally. You got ends. Shouldn't have fallen for it. Uh-oh. The fairies, huh? Sure, she still chose to do it. Yeah, yeah. I suppose. But you can't keep her sheltered forever, I feel like, right? I don't know. I don't know. We don't really know what... Hmm. We don't really know what they're protecting her from, I suppose. Keep your promises, yeah. Oh. And she has such a strong feeling about promises, it feels like, you know, after she grows up. What is wrong with him? Oh god. Right, right. Hmm. Fairies. Hmm. Yeah, lesser spirits, right? Right, right. Of course. I just don't understand how lesser spirits work, right? Right, right. That's not a weird idea. Come on. Sure, sure. Interesting. Okay, okay. She can do it. Come on. I guess she is like 5 years old, so. Don't say that, yeah. Oh god, don't say that either. What is he exactly? Why is he so old? Hmm. Interesting. Ooh. Doesn't want him to tell her about that. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. I wonder if they ever do. All right. How soon will disaster strike? I suppose is my question. They don't know she saw the seal, right? Ooh. Yeah. And I wonder if that promise ends up being broken. He's gonna start crying right now. Interesting. Interesting. Hmm. Amelia's handling it quite well, huh? But oh, who? Oh, the spirits disappeared. What is this music? A very like royal looking cloak. Oh, it's him, the greed guy. Oh yeah, with his stupid ass attitude. Oh my god. Right, right. What is he? Shut up. God, he is the most insufferable person ever. Oh my god. He always has something to say, huh? Ooh, by authority. I this literally drunk on himself. Oh, God. And we've seen how powerful he seems to be. Yeah, greed. So the witch's cult did exist back then. Oh god, no spoilers. The witch's cult did exist back then. Just what? Betelgeuse wasn't part of it yet? Or what are they? Okay, anyway, we'll talk about it in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. That was very nice. Little Amelia is so cute. She's very god. She's different, of course, than the way she is now, but like kind of not really. You know, it's so I don't know. It's so Amelia, right? Lots of like plot stuff. Lots of I don't know. I certainly have some ideas. This episode raises a lot of questions about a lot of stuff. Petalgeese, what's going on with him? Um, it's very tragic. I feel like it is going to become more and more tragic the more we learn about Petalgeese. The fact that he ended up the way he does, right? He does seem like such a nice, normal person back in the day, right? Um, I don't know what is up with the witches cult stuff at all. What I was thinking when I originally was watching this here was before the end, I guess, was that the witches' cult was maybe just like different back then, right? Because it certainly seems like they're all wearing like the same garb that we know of that the witches' cult wears. It certainly seems like, I mean, I wonder if it was even called the witches' cults, if they were even like if they're members of the witches' cult or not, I guess is the question. They're part of some kind of group, right? That's all wearing these garbs and stuff that seems so cult-like, kinda, except they're doing nice things instead of doing horrible things. So I was wondering if this is the witches' cult, if it was just different back then and they weren't evil and crazy. Um, but Regulus shows up at the end here and certainly introduces himself as a member of the witches' cult, right? So yeah, Archbishop of the Witches Cult representing greed. So I wonder what happens here, right? Obviously, maybe like through the events of whatever's about to happen here is will that be how whatever happens to Pelagis happens and all of his other people also join the witches cult? I guess I don't know. It's there's way too much stuff, right? Um Either way, I guess I don't really know what else to say about that in terms of like the witch's cult, right? It doesn't seem like it seems like they still have their obsession, maybe, if you would call it that, with Amelia because of her relation to Satella, whatever that still is, right? Petalgeese cries so much upon seeing her, which I imagine is of course because she looks just like Satella, right? What I'm thinking now too, which is crazy to me, because I remember wondering if members of the witches cult had any actual relation to Satella at all, just because of like the contrast between their actions, like Subaru's actions, right? But what I'm wondering now is whether or not Betelgeuse did he actually know Satella? Because he says he's so old, he says he has a very long life, that even like an elf seems like just a child to him, who also seem to have like long lives, I assume, right? Um, and I guess the way I assume, for one, that he has such a long life is probably with the same thing that was going on, like when he like possessed Subaru after his death and all of that, with all the fingers, all that kind of thing, right? Um, is that Petalgeese himself is just like a soul or like a spirit, I guess, right? That's what he is, so that's why he's existed for so long. So I guess this body too, this isn't really like him in a sense, right? This is just a body he's like using. Um, which in and of itself, that's kind of like a conflicting thing, right? Because I would say that possessing someone's body is probably a pretty bad thing to do, right? Um, so I don't know, some questions there, right? He seems like such a nice guy right now, but if his very existence is still one of possessing people in some sense, and that's like what he truly is, then I don't know. I don't know what to make of that exactly. But if he's lived for that long and he's really old, he has this extreme emotional of a reaction upon seeing Amelia. It's like I have to wonder then if he actually did have a personal relationship with Satella, like he knew Satella, right? Um, I mean, I have to assume so, right? This seems like much more of a stronger reaction than just, um, the kind of, like, reaction someone has upon seeing Amelia as someone just being a silver-haired half-elf, right? Like, we've seen Satella. We know that Amelia really does look just like her, right? Um, so I think if Petalgeese actually knew her, actually had a personal relationship with Satella and had seen her many times probably, then, yeah, it makes sense why he would have this kind of reaction to her, right? The other thing that's interesting about it is what it makes me think of too, him having this strong reaction to her, even though in this case it's like positive, right? Like he certainly doesn't hate her like so many people do automatically because of the way she looks. Um, I feel like it is still in conflict, or it just certainly is still in conflict with the whole concept, the whole idea behind like just Amelia, right? Behind Amelia wanting to be her own person and not someone who's just defined by the circumstances of what she looks like and the circumstances of her birth and all of this stuff, you know. Um, Despite the fact that Petalgeese isn't, being racist against her like all of society seems to be now, he is still seeing her for something that isn't her, right? He's seeing her for something that isn't just Amelia, you know what I mean? Which is an interesting conflict, I think. I think that is a very it's hard to see if that goes anywhere, I guess, because as we see with Petalgeese later, after it seems like he loses his mind and goes insane, the Petalgeese that we've seen in like present time, um, his attitude towards her seems like it's changed because now he just wants to kill her, right? So it's gotten a little bit different. I guess you could still say there's certainly still some amount of like idolization of her. They still view her as like, well, whatever they view her as in relation to Satella, right? But it's very different than this, right? But I would still say both of this, his reaction to her now and the reaction that people have to her in a very negative light, are just in the same vein of that kind of thing, you know, not viewing her for herself in some way, right? Which also, unrelated to everything that happens in the episode, it's just something about Amelia as a character, I guess. It also just makes me think about the royal selection too, and how that's kind of in the same way. Like think about like Felt. Remember in episode 13? I think that was episode 13 when Felt showed up and everyone thought she was just like a stupid loser peasant that they, like they were rejecting the idea of her being anything, you know. And there was this very clear thing where it was like if she chose to reject being a candidate for the royal selection, then everyone was going to continue thinking she was just a loser that they didn't care about. But if she would accept it, then that would give her all of this like social power in a way, and people started recognizing her as such in some way, right? Um, I think that's interesting for like Amelia as a character too. How the royal selection itself, I feel like you could say relates to like Petalgeese's reaction to her here too, right? It's like it's interesting that Amelia is pursuing something like the royal candidacy, the royal selection thing, um, when it is in such a way connected to this whole like just Amelia thing in like a negative way, right? How it is that so many people will view her as the royal candidates and view her as such, right? Like any amount of respect that she would gain through that uh wouldn't be something that she herself like gained through just being Amelia. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just puts me down this new train of thought in relation to the whole like just Amelia thing and kind of like the general message of the story as a whole, right? That's kind of like an embodiment of it. And how that relates to like to this, like the positive reactions that people could even have to Amelia because of things outside of her control, you know? What else? Are there any other plot related things I really want to talk about? I'm trying to think. Witch's Cult stuff we talked about. My conclusion is I don't know. This seems like the Witch's Cult, and it seems like they were different back then, right? That's my assumption. But at the end with Regulus, it seems like they aren't because he introduces himself as a Witch's Cult member, and he seems insane, right? It seems like he's the Regulus we know, right? Um, Petal Geese talked about that. I mean, it just seems like he's going to go crazy. I don't know how. I don't know why. I guess we don't know what's going to happen to him. Um, I suppose Regulus. Okay, Petal Geese. No, maybe this is important. It doesn't seem like Petal Geese recognizes him, right? Certainly doesn't seem like it, right? Maybe he does. I don't think so. I guess, right? Um, so maybe this is their meeting, and maybe this will be in some. But how is this going to lead to Petalgeese becoming, the authority of Sloth, the Archbishop of Sloth, all of that? I guess I don't know. I don't know. It's just too many questions that I don't know anything about. I suppose. I guess the last plot related thing to really talk about is the seal, right? What the hell is the seal? What are we doing with the seal? Um, I guess I don't know what it's sealing, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it, right? It's interesting that it is surrounded by frost, right? What it had me thinking with it being surrounded by frost so much is that in some way it is like sealing something about Amelia, something about her powers itself, right? Like how my assumption about how all of this goes down, her memories here in her past, is she is going to accidentally freeze everyone and freeze herself in the crystal that she's trapped in for so long, right? Before Puck comes and breaks her out. And it seems like right now she doesn't have those powers, right? She doesn't have all of the ice related stuff that she has now, right? It does seem like, which is interesting, that she is unbothered by the cold, right? You would think her having lived in this forest her entire life, that's always like this nice sunny warm climate, that she would say something about the freezing cold out here around here, but she doesn't say anything. And we know that Amelia is unaffected by the cold, like in God, what was it? Memory Snow. Um, so yeah, that's interesting. It just makes me think: could this seal being surrounded by frost like this somehow be sealing her literal powers? Like maybe. I just don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would. I don't know why they would do. I don't know why they would seal that away. I don't know why. Like, how would that work? How would her powers be sealed in this random door in the middle of the woods so far away from her? You know what I mean? So if it's not that, I don't know what it's sealing at all. I have no idea. Um, it's just the fact that it's surrounded by ice and frost and sealing something that makes me think that, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's locked up. I imagine the seal is going to become undone. And again, I guess it's just because it's surrounded by frost, and we know that the village will end up being frozen. I assume that once the seal is opens, that's when it's going to go down. That's when everything's going to get frozen, right? So I guess you could say maybe I've just been wrong the whole time. Maybe I've been wrong the whole time, and it is the seal being opened that is going to freeze the whole village and Amelia and everyone. And Amelia actually had no part in it the whole time, and it was never her fault. I guess it wasn't her fault anyway, because I assume if she did do it, that she did it on accident, right? But maybe Amelia didn't even do that. Maybe it actually just hasn't been her, and I've made this up the whole time. That is very possible, right? I doubt it. Like, I don't think that's where we're going, but maybe. For now that I've thought of it, like maybe, right? That still doesn't really tell me what the seal is at all. That doesn't really like help me think about what it could be. Um, because it's still, why is there a bunch of ice inside the seal? Like I don't know. I don't know. What does Amelia say about it again? Hmm. This is the seal. This seal's existence is why, and she doesn't finish her sentence. She certainly looks down though. It's why what? You found the answer. Hmm. Interesting. 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 Um, okay, let's try and go through the episode more in order. So we see this scene back in the Frozen Bond. I think it's literally the same scene with Puck waking up Amelia, of course. I still don't understand what Puck is exactly. First scene of Frozen Bond, we hear those words from Echidna telling Puck like his purpose and what he's meant to be and what he's meant to do. Um, But there's still so many questions about that. Like I still don't really know what he is, and like why did Echidna do that exactly? Echidna's attitude towards Amelia is very interesting in this episode. She keeps saying like all these mean things to her. But it feels like she almost has like this begrudging respect for her, perhaps, right? Um Amelia is certainly unbothered by her at this point, right? Uh I don't know, and it's interesting how she feels the need to accompany Amelia through all of this too. So unlike Subaru, where she only showed up at the very end, when he faced his past, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Her attitude towards Amelia is interesting. Obviously, like Amelia in the end of the last episode, like said, oh, I'm a fellow witch in a sense, Um, I wonder if Echidna views that in a more literal sense, in a way. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, there's still so many questions about Amelia. We don't have any answers to, right? Her relation to Satella and all of that. I assume that could be part of Echidna's like attitude towards her. I guess we just don't know, do we? I need none of your concern whatsoever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Echidna is like such a god. She really is a person, huh? She has such a different. It's so clear how her attitude with Subaru, in like the early episodes when she was trying to convince him to like rely on her, was so like she was really putting that on, huh? This feels much more like the way she like normally acts, right? Yeah, don't be getting any silly ideas of me actually being a very nice person. And what's funny is this seems like such like a line where like the point of it is that she actually is like a nice person, right? That she's like rejecting it in some way. But I kind of think she like just isn't, right? Like I feel like that's kind of the point is that she actually truly is not a very nice person, right? I don't really think so. That doesn't mean she's like a bad person, right? It's just again, I guess not a very nice person. Yeah, sure, I would agree with that probably. Simply her nature to answer the questions asked of her. Hmm. I must have covered up my memories because I didn't want to see them. Is that really all it is? Is that really all the seal on her memories is? I guess we know it was just part of her contract with Puck, right? Um, is that really all it was, though? Because it seems, I mean, when she I guess my confusion about this is because she didn't form the real contract with Puck until the end of the Frozen Bond, right? And that was Puck like breaking part of his thing, how he wasn't supposed to interfere with her life. So I guess it's just my confusion on this is I don't understand how if the seal on her memories was part of her contract with Puck, like he said, why did she have her memories sealed before then? It seems like, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't think it's just this, right? I don't think it's just she covered them up. Like, I mean, I guess it could be. I guess it could be. Maybe, right? Hmm. Still not prepared. Creating a line of defense before you even start is awfully defeatist. She's not really doing that. She's not really doing that. Yeah, she's preparing herself right now. She's being, if anything, she's preparing herself to be able to accept defeat, right? Because that's kind of always been a problem in a way. Is like, she wants to live up to the expectations of others so strongly that like yeah if she does get defeated if she does fail again then yeah she has to prepare herself to like handle that in a way right I think that makes sense it's not really the defeat itself that bothers her it's her feeling like through that defeat like what it means for like how other people will perceive her I suppose right it was something you desperately wanted to keep locked up inside it the princess room. I was sent to play here often when I was little. So they kept her locked up here all the time. They're very protective of her, right? Fortuna didn't want her to meet Petalgeese, didn't want her to see all the witches cult members and all of this. It seems like to me that Petalgeese and his group, I guess again, it's like unclear if they're the witches cult or not, but Petalgeese and his group I assume the reason why they're helping out everyone in the forest, all the elves here, is entirely because of Amelia, it seems like, right? And the seal, whatever the seal is, if that is in some way related to Amelia too, or not, I guess. Um, it's all just about Amelia and whatever she is, right? Petalgeese certainly seems to think Petalgeese thinks there's a connection between her and Satella, right? She looks just like Satella, and he thinks there's some connection there. And I assume that has to be why they're keeping her locked up here, right? Keeping her so sheltered, right? Like a princess, right? The princess room. Um, very interesting, very interesting. You look so irritatingly carefree. Hmm. God, it's like it's hard for her to look at her. She has to blink. She has to slowly look her eyes up at Fortuna, who isn't her mother, isn't like her biological mother, right? Kind of certainly takes a motherly role towards her. And they are related, right? But she's her aunt, I suppose, right? Yeah. Kind features come from your mother. Mother Fortuna was my father's younger sister. Yeah, yeah. My real parents were too busy to spend time with me. I wonder if that is accurate of what the actual situation with her parents are. Um, I wonder. I guess I just wonder. We don't really know anything about her parents, do we? They're brought up again later in the episode, but hmm, interesting. God, she looks so this stupid. Yeah, so she's very bored. Mother always tells me lying and keeping secrets are wrong, but everyone's keeping secrets from her, right? Why does she have to be so sheltered, you know? It's interesting. It's from her very birth, she's treated so differently, you know? And that's just she doesn't want that, of course. You know, that's what she's always not wanted, right? Wish I could go outside and a spirit shows up. Which I thought for a little bit that this was like actually just Puck or something, right? But it seems like it's just a random spirit, right? That it's just her affinity for the lesser spirits, I guess. Out she goes to sneak out to go see what's going on. So it seems like they're all bringing them like just supplies and stuff. I guess it seems like the forest is similar to like the sanctuary in a way. That it's like they are maybe not stuck here, but they're just all here, perhaps for their own safety, for their own good in some way, something like that, right? That's what it seems like. Hmm. Geese. It's interesting he doesn't call himself Petal Geese, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Is the seal intact? So they know about the seal. Nothing has changed. If the worst were to happen, I could never face my brother and sister. Interesting. Interesting. And this is, oh God, it's just every little line here. I just want to read into it. You mean your brother dot 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 and his wife. I wonder why like the hesitation on that line. I wonder if we can read into something about that. It's maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder. Never forget the weight of the responsibility I carry. Is that responsibility Amelia? Something about Amelia looking after her, right? Keeping her safe. Again, it's just like safe from what? Why do they feel the need to hide everything from her? Um I assume it has to be something about her connection to Satella in some sense, or maybe even something beyond that. Something we just don't know. We just don't know. I have nothing else. God, they all have such colorful hair, nice eyes. Very, very interesting. It's a different sense of responsibility from yours. Obsession, regrets. I'm only clinging to things that might as well be delusion. It's interesting, right? Obsession and regret seem like things that personify him so much in the future, right? The Petal Geese that we knew in like season 1, right? So it's interesting he still has a connection to those feelings in some way as he is now. Um it's almost like maybe you could say the extreme amplification of those feelings is what leads him to be the way he is in the future. I wonder. Hmm. Thanks to the spirits, the seasons don't change much in the forest. They continue to bring us things like clothing and books. Yeah. So they don't leave, right? The fact that people feel the need to bring them all of these things from the outside shows that yeah, they're pretty isolated here in the forest in some way, right? It was wrong to force all of you to live in such an inconvenience place. Inconvenient. It should be inconvenient. Or no, live in such inconvenience in a place like this. Sorry, I read it wrong. It's my bad. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Forcing them to live here. Interesting. I wonder by what means are they forced to live here, I suppose. I don't know. Here's Archie. I like him. He got nice eyes. He looks cool. He looks cool. And off they go. They call themselves sinners. He asks about Amelia, of course. Can't let her meet you. I wonder why. I wonder why she doesn't want Amelia to meet Petalgeese. Because Amelia does end up meeting him, and it's fine, right? It's not like she's mad about it, it seems, afterwards. I wonder. As long as Amelia Sama grows up healthy, that's enough. A sinner such as myself could never dare to ask for more. They call themselves sinners, right? Which is the attitude it seems like that the witch's cult kind of has later on, too. The way that he embodies, like, sloth later, right, as a sin. I don't know. It's just so many questions about. I just don't know how things end up the way they do. Right? I really don't know. Your words alone would surely carry me through 100 years of turmoil, huh? Do they? Maybe. So Amelia has to run back, of course, because she she got to stop getting covered in dirt completely. Like the spirit tries to help, it's not enough. She has to cover herself in ink. She's so conniving. Hmm. She looks at her hand. I wonder if like she can tell that she snuck out looking at her hand. I wonder. I wonder. So protective of her. She calls her a spoiled child, and in a sense, I suppose she is. Um, People are very protective of her, right? But again, it's that spoiling, it's that different treatment that people always give her that she ends up having such a distaste for, you know. I have to wonder too if that comes from how this ends up too. Even though the fact that she doesn't remember it, I wonder if subconsciously she knows that the way people treated her so differently back then too led to a very negative outcome in some way, right? If that is part of why she has such a distaste for it in the future, you know? And it's so sad how she has people who care about her so much, like her, you know? And she's so alone and so lonely in the future. All she has is Puck, you know? Wonder what she thinks seeing that now. Perhaps the sights you had locked deep within your heart have begun to overlap with scenes from your memories, little by little. Hmm. Interesting, interesting. Now that you've recalled your mother, some people you knew, and that so-called fairy are ready to face your past. She is not. There are still some important memories she's missing. So I suppose if this isn't really her facing her past exactly yet, then that's why Echidna's still here, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? The seal. She has to remember the seal. So she remembers something about the seal right now, it seems, right? Um, hmm. Just not the details, I suppose. I wonder. I wonder. I love some of the faces she makes in this episode. They're very silly. Very silly. Hmm. and Pelgis and Fortuna have a little bit of a thing going on, huh? The seal is still in place. Very conscientious of you to check on it every time. I don't think there is literally any hint about what the seal does, is there? I mean, huh. The state of affairs outside the forest is dubious at the moment. Perhaps my concern is baseless, but I wanted you to be aware. I wonder. For Amelia Sama and for the two of them, too. The two of who? Um, Amelia's parents? Be conscientious for their sake, I suppose. The spirit goes off to go show her the seal, which is very interesting. Kind of already talked about it, right? Don't really know what it is. I imagine in some way it seems related to, yeah, like what happens with Amelia and everyone being frozen, perhaps, right? Hmm. It's little cutback to Super being stupid and being so embarrassed. Why is he so embarrassed? Come on, it's fine. Yeah, why get so embarrassed just because you put it in writing this time? I guess in a way it feels more genuine. Maybe it feels more real. It feels more meaningful because he wrote it all down in a sense. You know, he can't like laugh it off. I suppose because it's there, right? In matters of love, follow the Ling Dorn's example. I guess they do say that. I've heard that saying many times. I suppose. Took Garfield about an hour. I wonder how time works when you're in the trial. Is it just 1-to-1? Is it just like no weird time stuff? I guess they're just passed out, experiencing it at their head in real time. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. Shima-sama wants to talk to you. She wants to continue last night's discussion. So they want to talk about some unavoidable consequence, it seems like, of yeah, a subject that is unavoidable if you wish to liberate the sanctuary. And I'm it really has me thinking. She seems very exhausted, very out of sorts here. Um what is the subject exactly? What is something related to them as I wonder. I guess I don't wanna like have crazy theories. I wonder if something will happen to the clones themselves, the Ryuzu clones, if the sanctuary is opened. Is that the subject? If it would, that would be interesting, because that would be further reason why Garfield wouldn't want it opened. But maybe that's jumping the gun. I guess I really don't know, right? Who knows? Who knows? She, God, she's so stupid. She's just pushing on this giant metal door, and like, why would that do anything? God, her attitude is kind of sad, right? Just this way she talks to herself all the time, because she must be so lonely in a way, even with the people she does have. She's still so sheltered, and so, you know, yeah. And she runs into Geese. He has quite the reaction to seeing her. Quite the reaction to seeing her. Which, again, I have to imagine, it really makes me think that he himself actually knew and saw Satella before, right? Man, been granted salvation like never before. It's a very strange attitude, right? It's really, yeah. Hmm. God, and Amelia's so sweet. I would be scared if someone reacted to me like that, right? Like, man, I know there are so many things like this I'd forgotten, but not too long ago I wouldn't have been able to accept this. Yeah, I mean, it must be very, from her perspective, knowing what Petalgeese becomes too. It's like, how does she feel about it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm scared, but I won't cower in fear. You're giving up on the decision to depend on a man or father figure, even though it's so typical of a filthy woman like you. Like a kidnap. What are you talking about? Like, she doesn't have to depend on anyone. Yeah, doesn't want to. But and I don't want to just shrug off that fact that she would still be weak. I suppose I don't want all those things Subaru wrote for me to end up being wrong. Subaru believes in me, and that's why I don't want to be embarrassed by his feelings. Perfect. Now Subaru needs to take your example and not be embarrassed by his feelings, his own feelings for you too. Like, come on, own the love letter. It's okay. The trial that broke you once now begins for real. So, something that is going to happen here with Regulus, I assume, right? Him showing up and whatever the ensuing conflict is going to be, is what breaks her. I wonder, like, I mean, I guess I could imagine any number of things. Fortuna's gonna die. He's gonna murder her. Um, but it's just I wonder, like, how is that gonna lead to what happens with the forest being frozen and whatever the seal is and all of this stuff, you know? Hmm. It's interesting, right? Like his attitude towards her, this very much wanting to keep her sheltered, right? Which is so much the opposite now of what she wants to feel. It's so I don't know. I don't know. And it's so different compared to his attitude later too. The pedal geese that we see in season one, right, where he's literally having her undergo this trial of trying to murder her, and if she survives it, then she's passed. Completely the opposite of the way he thinks about her now, right? Hmm. And Fortuna really really owns her. Hmm. I don't like children who blame things on other people. That is an interesting, I don't know, interesting attitude, I suppose, with how Amelia feels about her actions later on in life. Hmm. A promise is the embodiment of trust, and to break it is to betray that trust, so you mustn't do it. Sure, yeah. Promise me, Amelia, that you'll keep your promises from now on. And it's interesting how Amelia has such a strong view of what a promise is, like as we know her now, right? This really meant a lot to her, right? A promise. People break promises all the time, right? They really do. It's like it's a very nice view of what a promise should be, something that no one will ever break, right? Something that embodies trust in a way. But people break promises like it's no deal, like it's no big deal, literally all the time, right? Unfortunately, like Subaru, right? I mean, like in this story, like Subaru breaking his promise to sit by her all night. Well, sure, but it's not like that was really a betrayal of her in a sense, considering what he had to do with it, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting question, I suppose, right? Hmm. Because of course she's allowed to be upset about it as well, right? I don't know. I don't know. Such a dazzling sight. God, he needs to calm down. Jesus. We see that she has quite the affinity for lesser spirits, naturally, naturally. Hmm. Those who communicate with them, form contracts with them, are spirit art users. When no one is by her side in particular, they will be her strength. Very interesting. And I mean, hey, a spirit surely does end up becoming her strength for a long time. Everything's so nice and cool, and then, unfortunately, Regulus shows up. In fact, since the days when your mother and father were well, she doesn't want him to tell her about her mother and father. I wonder. I wonder what happened to them, right? Yeah. Talk about it another time. I wonder if they ever do, right? She promises to do so. Um, but I wonder if she does. I wonder if in the ensuing conflict of what's about to happen, if that promise ends up being impossible to fulfill, right? And here's Regulus. And God, he's so insufferable. He is so insufferable. Just the most insufferable person ever. Like Jesus Christ, his way of speaking, huh? His attitude. God. Man, it is ridiculous. It's interesting how it like paints in this way that greed can be so similar to pride, right? He feels so prideful, you know. And I feel like that makes sense in relation to the idea of greed as well. I don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting, right? I guess it was always unclear what Petalgeese's relation to Sloth was too, right? How it seemed like he hated Sloth, I suppose, right? I don't know. It's very interesting because it certainly doesn't seem like Regulus hates greed, unless you want to say that he views other people. I guess you could say that his attitude is he views anyone else he views everyone else as being greedy in a sense, I suppose, right? Like someone else asking him for his name, right? He views that as them being greedy almost, right? They're disrespecting him by asking for his name, you know. So him viewing everyone else as being greedy in that way manifests itself as like pride, it feels like, you know. Archbishop of the Witches' Cult representing greed, Regulus Corneus. A journey through memories. Well, a good episode. Felt like we're just getting into it. Feels like we got a lot more to do back in Amelia's past to face. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what she will face. We know how it's gonna end, but we don't know how it's gonna get there. So very cool. Very cool. So if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.